Hey guys, so I've been really hesitant to talk publicly about the things that I'm going to talk about in this video because I did not want to cause any further drama or further divide, and contrary to popular belief right now within the Rapture community, I am not a mean and hurtful person, and I have no ill will towards Joshua or any of the folks that are still involved in this deception. My only goal in this was to protect them, my brothers and sisters, and so for that reason I've been really hesitant. I'm sorry, I got an eye booger. I've been really hesitant to speak publicly about the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this video, but I was persuaded by several brothers and sisters who brought up some really good points about why it's important for me to lay everything on the table and tell the truth about everything that I know about Joshua and give the full perspective, the full timeline of everything that transpired, so that people have the full set of facts to make a decision for themselves. And one of the people that I'm referring to that persuaded me is a mother who had a child who was caught up in this deception about September 23rd and 24th. And when that day came and went, her child went into a mental break and became suicidal. Now, this is not hearsay. This is a mother's firehand account of her own child, okay? So those of you out there say, oh, that's all a bunch of malarkey. No, it's not. This is a mother in her firsthand account, and she spoke to me about it on Facebook, and she said, you know what? I think it's really important for people like my daughter, for people like me who were really impacted by this, that they have the full set of facts. And she's right. And so I'm going to put down my personal feelings, put that aside, and I'm just going to give you the full perspective. I'm going to tell you everything that I know, everything that happened, everything that transpired. Now I know that there are many of you who this will not make a difference, okay? There are many of you who are so deeply entrenched in this that it won't matter what Joshua did or any of that. You are die hard, and nothing is going to sway you from this deception. Joshua could come out tomorrow and say that it was all a lie, it was all a farce, and you would say that the real Joshua was abducted by aliens, and that wasn't really Joshua. And I'm not jesting, I'm not joking, because that literal thing happened, okay? When he came out on October 16th and 17th, made that post that Jesus told him that, I think this was like his third prediction or whatever in the name of God. He said that Jesus gave him a dream and told him that he was coming to get us on October 16th and 17th. When that day came and went, there were people coming out saying that it wasn't really Joshua, that something happened to Joshua, that never wasn't him, okay? And so I say this because I know that there's literally nothing that I could tell most of you that would sway you from this deception. But for the sake of the people that I told you about, for the sake of that mother, her child, and other people who were caught up in this, I'm just gonna lay it out on the table. Everything that happened, I want to take you back to when Joshua and I's relationship first started to fall apart, when Shelly and I had him on my channel that day. I want you guys to understand that when I first spoke to Joshua on the phone that day for several hours before I came out and publicly endorsed him, what really got me about Joshua was his gospel presentation. It was a beautiful gospel presentation. He seemed so genuine, he seemed so truthful, and call me naive, but I try to take people for what they say. If they say they believe the gospel, I don't. I try to take them at their confession, right? And his gospel presentation on the phone that day was perfect. It was beautiful. And I trusted that that's what he really believed. And when he came on my channel that day with Shelly that day, I know that there were many people on YouTube who were against Joshua from the beginning, who were going around saying that Shelly and I coached him on the gospel that day. And as God is my witness, as a man before God, we did not coach him. We did not tell him what to say. We did not tell him the gospel. We seriously just let him talk. That's what we did, as God is my witness. We did not coach him. We just let him go. And he went on to give a perfect gospel presentation. Shelly and I were both emotional by the end of it. It was a beautiful 2-hour piece, and we all believed Joshua. Shelly and I both believed Joshua, that he was genuine, and he really moved us that day. So you can imagine my surprise when I woke up on the morning that Joshua did his third interview with the twins. I had no idea he was going to do this interview. He never told me that. This is what he was gonna do, that he was gonna say any of this. And that morning my phone was blown up from me with messages, text messages from people all over YouTube up in arms, that saying that Joshua just totally did an about face and preached a totally false gospel on the Twinser show. And then I hadn't watched it at that point. So then I found the video and I watched it, and the gospel presentation that he presented on the twins on that third interview had nothing in common with the gospel presentation that he presented on my channel. And he sounded very confused. He sounded very he was presenting a false gospel message. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. What he was preaching that day on the twins was not the gospel.
And it was absolutely not what he preached on my channel. And that day I was a mess because I felt betrayed, I felt lied to, I felt deceived. He came on and told Shelly, and I one thing on my channel, and then not even a week later showed up on the twins and said something completely different. And I felt bamboozled, I felt deceived. And that was the day that my relationship with Joshua started to break apart. And I called him that day, and we had a good stern talking, and I told him exactly how I felt. I felt deceived, I felt like he went behind my back. I felt like he came on my channel, said what he wanted, what he thought I wanted to hear, and what my viewers wanted to hear. And then good about fee, somewhere in every network, and said something completely different. And I felt deceived. Am I just that I'm the bad boy, as impersonating his rock? And Shelly can testify, I was really upset that I don't love the night, the walk the doodle so low and tall the old them, and I was a mess. He had to pick me up off the floor, I was a mess. Cause I was asking myself, what have I done? What have I thought? The day I'm even kind about Puliera, the prophecy hadn't failed yet. I'm somewhat thinking, oh my die, what have I done? Because for me, guys, the gospel message is above everything. It's a text to that church, above everything. If somebody has to go and gospel message, I'm done with. Not so. Grudge. But I feel calm with the scene, gentlemen. Medic4christ says to speak to me personally. So I'm corner, even though shoulders I'm better like every lunch right now. And I'm like in a task that I buzz. I was rather conflicted a document. My relationship with Joshua was rocked by pouring, and I never fully recovered. Cause don't let the getting up my starting to question Joshua's testimony. But understand the bro said money to turn by barrel play. We were weeks away from the destination. We were all in people put like come just treat her out a bag out 2 weeks before the date. And I don't want to come to completion and seeing our guys house away and understand that Joshua has a way about him, he's a charismatic cult, kind of if you questions artistry, and artists question to Joshua, you question to God. You wish if you were freed, how about my brothers afraid of Joshua? Neither others afraid of him, but again, Shelly, who is really close to me in broad tent, like she the one my thoughts and my feet as I confided in her. We could find it in each other, she can attest to this. I was afraid of Joshua at that time, I was afraid of Challenge, and I was afraid to speak to that step because I really believed this, he was a prophet. I really believed that the Lord had spoken to him and suffered me to speak against him in my mind. It's like speaking against God, and so I was afraid of him. For the longest time, I was afraid to challenge him. And I remember Matt called me that day from Wackadoodle, and I was crying, and I was a mess, and I just didn't know what to do. I was conflicted because here he was presenting a totally different gospel than what he presented on my channel, and I didn't know what to do. I was in too deep at that point, I was afraid of him. I still believed he was a prophet, but I no longer trusted him, if that makes sense. And I didn't know what to do. You guys, if I could tell you what I went through over him, I'm trying my best to tell you what I went through over that 3 and 4 months. That was the worst 3 months of my life, okay? By the end of it, Shelly and I were both saying to one another, I just want this over with. I don't care what happens on September 23rd and 24th. I just want this over with. I'm so done with this whole situation. It was a nightmare. It was a total nightmare, guys. We were all just exhausted. We were beat to crap by the end of it, okay? Let's fast forward beyond that day when the relationship between Joshua and I started to break apart because of the gospel. There's a man named Tony Ventrano, Patrono, Tony Verano, who, he's a brother who was in a men's chat that I was a part of with Brother Garrett and some other people, and Tony was skeptical of Joshua from the beginning. In fact, he was the only one that was sober-minded of all of us, okay? He was saying from the beginning, you guys are not being sober-minded. This guy's a false prophet. You guys need to be careful, we need to take this to scripture. You know, let God's word be true and every man a liar. And he was skeptical of Joshua from the beginning, and we were not nice because like many of you are now, we were deep in this deception, and we didn't want to hear that, Joshua was a false prophet. You know, we didn't want to hear that, and we didn't respond kindly. We were angry at Tony for his warnings, and we weren't when we were being almost mean to Tony because he wouldn't get on board. And turns out, to my shame, to all of our shame, he was the one amongst all of us who was right. And anyway, Tony is a waiter. He waits tables at a Christian restaurant in California, and one night he had 3 men from South Africa come in and sit at one of his tables, and because it's a Christian restaurant, their cup holders have Bible verses on them. So when Tony can he hope to take their role and never talk about spectre and turn you down into discussion with an infilled academic from the South Africa, I'm actually, asked him Atheniel Joshua, and one of the men talked up, he said, yeah, my mom came from a Simdonius, hang got mad as y'all to be trusted that to be told Tony and 30 called he died hating. It was just so weird and sad. I got the whole thing that he, it was like, just happening, and What are the chances that beast 3 die and show up at my restaurant? We said that Joshua's not to be trusted. They don't person they just not gonna be trusted. I put on for put on things always like how with these 3 people, you know. What are with all the hitting these people? They don't know anything about these people. Well, tell the man if any of this is not a chain or balkers exchange to when people balkers experience and he had in some light. And all in from South Africa to like the palm and on Tony's video they know Josh. But well, neither they just know Josh, which at receipts and detail for them the traps attached with the wancher. You know where Joshua came from, you know what little Joshua's mine. He knows things about Josh with the queen of note or my see no Joshua's my strange shouted that I wanted like talk of George. When I this mad knew the Neiman insurance Joshua was a part of in South Africa. Then I mean in turns to lost it ranges, but this change was known for spilling my from its tantrums. It was a pawn soldier. What I mean by con shows was the pay what identify people in the canoe but it double wealthy. And there in Sunday pastors and Joshua was one out to find these wealthy people with the Panetti and were cranked into the church so that he could spill money. It's like to got down the brim money of the church thing. It was a truth that was known for carnal industry pining wealthy people to become the part of the church so that he can siphon money from those people with Joshua. But he shows it his testimony that he was consistent Christ spirit of church. This is the church. So I beach about to join short this time I shred him the strange how this is true. We on part of the stretch. Is this church really what he says? And Joshua confirmed that not only was he a part of this church, he was a pastor at this church, but that the church was involved in stealing money. He said, these are his words, that the church was such a deceiving church that there were people that they totally bankrupted. They would find these wealthy people and they would steal so much money from them that they would ruin their lives and they would bankrupt them. Those were Joshua's words. Joshua said he was a pastor at this church and that he on several occasions disobeyed the leaders of this church. They would tell him to go out and steal money from somebody or recruit a mark, a wealthy person and bring him in, and he would often disobey them and not do what they told. That was his excuse. His excuse was that he would often disobey their orders, okay? But make no mistake, Joshua was a part of a church that was a known con artistry, a program. He was a pastor at that church and he stayed there knowing that that's what they were doing. So whatever his excuse about disobeying them on occasion, he was a part of a con church that was stealing money from people, and he knew that's what was taking place, okay? According to the man who knew the details and had the receipts, it was the day that this church had an investigation opened into their actions that Joshua stood up and left the church. So the day that an investigation was being opened into this church and its pastors, Joshua left the church. He left the day that there was supposed to be an investigation. That was the claim of this man that had the receipts, and I brought all of this to Joshua and he confirmed most of it. He disputed some of it, some minor details, but the most important thing was that he confirmed he was a part of a church. He was a pastor at a church that was known for stealing money. And guys, I want you to understand that at this point I still had rosa-colored glasses on. I was still in deep, the date hadn't come and gone yet. I love Joshua, you know, I considered him a friend. I thought I knew him, I trusted him, I believed him. I thought he was a prophet, guys, I was so deceived. Okay, to my own shame, I was so deceived. I really believed that he was who he said he was, and so I showed him grace. I said, you know what, maybe this was in his past, and I showed him grace. Fast forward the day before the live stream. Now, I want you guys to understand, I did not want to do this live stream. Shelly, who was my closest friend at the time, my closest friend involved in this whole situation, she and I want me to gird this live string. She taught me fun that the game, this is a bad idea, daughter, that fairy though. But then I think it's just a thing for you to deal with the bond I do, don't do it. And I want dirtier than felt, I draw a do to do with him. Sorry, Shelly, but I felt, guys, on drill, they're staring my fat bus and took the time. In fact, I got to walk out of this live stream the day to walk out on God, cause I really believed the bad part that this was a message of missions given to me by God that the train was. And I really believed that Joshua was a prophet, need to walk away from Joshua was to walk away from God. I tell Joshua's the people in this Copley and he's got these people who think he is sent by God. He's a voice of God, so to come against and to speak against and to speak you guys there. The town in Haston show what I send in our spirit. And so though I didn't know what to do this constant. That felt that to walk away from this was to walk away from God. When he and Josh was saying that God told we know we had to do this con string, and it was God who ordained this line string, and know we how to do it, okay? That's we just telling people that God should to do the spawn strings. Wiped out a 9, or is it understeer a 9 to 4 this love string? Shelly the part to Joshua on the photo. Her shoulders and white thing one frame out. She got attached to what I'm telling you is the truth. So what I talked to in the microphone in the photo, and we going over everything news that I have, but in the Y string the next day. There's gosh with the leap before. What happens if I do it? The tinny full it that we do like continue the live stream up through to stop the live streaming. It kind of mildly rebuked me like you with my faith. Cliff with you, me basically think I'm more biography with the God. I'm 20 fanning and they think it kind of insinuated. Yo, my faith was weak. Leave it asking the question, what will we do if we go into the 24th? And so I let it go. But Shelly is my witness that we have this discussion 24 hours before this live stream. I asked them that very question. Now I want you to understand that most of us the day of that live stream, the ones that were actually doing the work to put this whole thing together, we hadn't slept in days, at least not well. I had maybe 2 hours of sleep in 72 hours. We were busting our humps, and Joshua insisted that we get up at the butt crack of dawn, 3 a.m. for the people in California. It was 3 hours earlier than that. We got up at the butt crack of dawn to get this whole thing situated, and we were the ones doing all the work. That brother Michael from Centurions of Faith, God bless him, because I couldn't have done any of that without him. He was such a wonderful support. I mean, he worked his butt off getting that whole thing together. We all did. We all busted our hump. So we all busted our hump getting that thing situated. We hadn't slept in days. I had a test the next morning that I hadn't even looked at the material for. Joshua insisted I wouldn't even be here for that test, so don't worry about him. And we all got up at the butt crack of dawn because Joshua insisted we must. Now remember, Joshua was 6 hours ahead, so for him our 3 a.m. was okay. This was no big deal for Joshua, it was us, his peons, that were the ones that were busting our home. We get the live stream started, and Joshua, the guy who this is all about, is nowhere to be found. He doesn't show the guy who insisted that God said we had to do it, who forced all of us to get up at the butt crack of dawn, who did next to no work whatsoever to get any of this done. He doesn't show up to his own party, so I'm calling him. Well, turns out he answers the phone and he's his normal chill self. He's eating, having a great time. He slept wonderfully. He loves to tell people how well he sleeps. Meanwhile, none of us have slept a wink, and turns out him and his family booked a vacation to a hotel on the day that we're supposed to be doing this live stream that he said God told us to do. They're at a hotel on vacation on that day, and he's living it up. He's eating whatever he's eating. He's as chill as ever, and he's saying, well, I'm H, I'm not able to guess things. Suggest up and no, just keep him talking, telling me what they need to do. Bother, third on me, no, he's no way to defrown. The shot is going crazy. Where's Joshua? Where's Joshua? Where's Joshua? The one you shot up without Joshua. Shouldn't have fallen, no, my heart apart. And now notch the moderators over that well. Sharing how many times people were obsessing about Josh. I can't. If it or not, he had a golden cow. Paul them in by the level that Joshua's our late things are LFA to treat dates. The case to quit the second time, and the people were the sass with this nappy. When it's done next, can I got on the whole time that he none gonna work to it. Going around screaming, if he get bored, it'd be out of his bad ass. Been a thing of Joshua. I know moderators for interfering the time. People who insisted this made, so I get him situated. I'd walk in the flick to get how to get into it was where he the sounds to graces with his presence in a wide stream. After the tiger wake, but that wide stream, a big den, be mighty thin and full. And I don't melt 4 hours at the entire pine, because every time he went to it, he got mission either show up, and I want to hours after our schedule, give stone time looking. But I tried to straight as somebody that was a toss to be out when we were beats apart. It is the one push showing us to be. They said the one push showing us to do what he's only as possible. Make it as painful for us as possible. Wations over on vacation. The hotel won't levy good at lowest PRs. We'll do it all the work. Look at either show, either spend passion at the stick on the phone, otherwise Jim is going low. That stipulation is this is the rate, this is round. This looks terrible with the dirty good tone, but the rhyme started on this wasn't showing it up to his own part, and he was plenty more of an artist. Like he was on vacation, it's so factual. We always getting more pissed and more pissed as this went on, because it came back and he wasn't this every reason when he'd show up an hour or too late, he'd show up whenever he felt like it, and every time the chat would go crazy. Where's Joshua? Where's Joshua? And all all of us were just doing our best to buy time until he would show up. It was the most awkward experience of my life. Well, we get to the point, we get to the moment, the point that Joshua said would not happen, and it officially switches over to the 24th in Israel. The thing that he said would not take place, and in that moment Joshua was going on about some nonsense about the Grim Reaper, some unbiblical garbage referencing the Grim Reaper, who, by the way, I shouldn't have to tell Christians is not a real thing. There is no Grim Reaper, okay? Not a biblical Christian concept at all. But here we are in the moment that Joshua said to all of us would not happen. Israel switches over into the 24th, and he's going on about some total bull crap about the Grim Reaper. And I remember in that moment I looked down in the live stream and I had my hands on my head like this, because it was in that moment that I realized, what have I done? This man is a liar. And I don't know if any of you saw Mike Winger's deconstruction of that live stream. Now listen, I'm not even really a Mike Winger fan. I'm not somebody that follows Mike Winger. I'm not, I've never watched Mike Winger. I think he can be a little crude, a little harsh. I'm not a huge Mike Winger fan, but he was dead on with his assessment. It was like he read my thoughts, cause that's exactly what was taking place in that moment when I put my head down. When in that moment I realized this man, I have been bamboozled, and I interrupted his nonsense about the Grim Reaper to bring up the fact that Israel had passed into the 24th. Now the audience did not know that Shell and I discussed this very question with him 24 hours prior, but I gently asked him, what do you have to say to the people who were watching, who would say to you, you said this moment would not happen, and here we are. And he pretended like he did not understand my question. I repeated it to him twice more, as clear of English as I could, and he pretended like he couldn't understand what I was asking him, despite the fact that I asked him that same question the night prior, and he knew that I knew that he was full of baloney with his nonsense about not understanding the question. I knew he was lying because Shell and I asked him that question 24 hours prior, and here he is pretending like he didn't understand what I was asking him. He knew exactly what I was asking him, but he didn't have a response, and he was getting mad at me for daring to question him about the fact that he said this very moment wouldn't take place, and he was pissed at me because I dared to call him on it. But at that point I was done. Like I was done playing the games I had no sleep, I was fed up. He wasn't showing up, he was playing all of us for fools, and at that point, like I was done. That I wanted, I was no ass string right then and there, but I didn't forehaski what else in gov. And I was trying to like polish up a dash that I could, and dollar with a fast forward again, and this after all of this, the light shit is over, the snare down the last string that is made me it that night. Now snow having salt, I'm exhausted, I had been through the care and ass when I'd been through with that 3 or 4 lines out of the test in the morning. I knew I hadn't studied, but that Joshua insisted I wouldn't be shoot for Joshua. Calls me out when the floor he'd made type, says my god, it's only the window between me now with your 4, he said, AM time, ready to do on every hot stream. I think it'll last how I cook out, because this man tell everybody, get God say you do that live streaming, that we would be Rapture and doing that live stream to give dots where yeah that be Rapture and doing that live sleeting. A day happens to appear and that according to gosh would bad in touch when we tone something with like fools or rise through and do a live stream that he deem any meal is for knockers showing up for that according to Joshua. That's Joshua's custom. We dog told him to do to this live stream, knowing that we got all work like food, that these dime meals we would not showing up doing that live stream is not for wood up a ween. The guy to Joshua do a live stream and he kneels I wouldn't get showing lap for his album may breathe. I got a guys, this man's got a cough and he's a liar, and so I don't know if he really believes any of this stuff. Couple the dudes though is that he has a history of fart and has a history and connect the Twitch chilling big steals muddy think he's with the peeper to know but says now to be trusted. He lied to me on multiple when cash was came in my shadle. So wrong the thing about the gospel to appease me, my Albans Lake Hill and never left like accent some can be proudly different. Lighting a little look around stream, pretended like he didn't understand what I was asking, but he knew done what I was asking. Can he do the math first? Lands asking me to get up at 4 in the morning when I haven't slept to do another live stream that would have ended in failure again. And I said, Joshua, I have a test in the morning that I haven't studied for and I haven't slept, I'm going to bed. He proceeded to ask me for money for another hotel room night. He wanted to order another night at the hotel. He wanted to pay, he wanted me to send him money so that he could have another hotel room night, and he asked me for the money to do that. I went to bed and I woke up at 4 AM, not for Joshua, but for all of the people who were let down. And I got on that live stream on the last 10 minutes of that window. I pulled myself together because I owed it to everybody that I had deceived mistakenly. And in that last 10-minute window that we had left, knowing that we weren't going to be raptured, I knew at that point that it wasn't going to happen. I sat there and I endured that last 10 minutes, and I did everything in my power to keep myself together when I was falling apart on the inside. And I had to be at school in 2 hours to take a test that I hadn't studied for. My whole life had been falling apart already because of this man and his prophecy. The next day, the 25th, we're all still here naturally. I called Joshua when I was angry. I'd let him have it on that phone. And when he answered that phone with his pompous, arrogant self that he always is, I asked him how he was. I'm great, Michael, I slept wonderfully. He loves to tell people how well he sleeps while everyone else is a catastrophe. And this is what I mean by this man has no no repentance, he has no empty. He does not care who he hurt, who he deceived. Listen to me, I know this man better than all of you. This man does not care about you. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about how you're feeling. He has no empathy for any of you. He has made all of us look like idiots. He has made the body of Christ on the global stage look like morons. I want you to understand that this story didn't just make local news. This story was on ABC, BBC, Good Morning America with her national anchors. And all of us, they played all our videos of us crying, of us going on, and they were laughing. We had international anchors, people that covered the presidential race, laughing at us on live television the next day. And this man doesn't care, this is what he did to the body of Christ. Okay, he didn't care what a damage he caused to any of you, and he still doesn't care. I see the community post in his community, people begging him for answers. He doesn't have any answers, folks, because he's a liar, he's a false prophet. He doesn't care about you, he's a deceiver, and y'all are carrying on his legacy for him. He doesn't have any answers, he doesn't know, because he the route he was deceived. He saw few cup Miss Moby coffee and Cletus. Folks, you need to weep up, okay, you've been deceived. Make out when I try to praise your own new giant dealing to you. And my China marking is gone for you, but he have more invested in this situation. And this guy, okay, it was the boys near heart in this hard fiend. Now it was the Don crime forming this whole fiend. That was the diadotion, it's me. The thing on this man, mine was the word name. Boris comes like it's full without my fists, and time gathers the fool with that police. In my heart, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not Chinese, what church you? You talk you up, beat on now. When Chinatown need a truth, there's some money homeless on the other side. This madness, a deceiver, keep doesn't care about you. And all of these dates are facing anxiety, sound fucking failure when it's hashing. Stop taking the drug, stop, it's covering in the rooms, and it's time to get some help. You have been deceived.
This is a click, man. I will love you when I step on ways to keep it. When I testify the folk gun, we get a touch. Rap me to keep up where wrong. And he's ready to keep another hating out. Then the rest true cheap, because he quit. I would need to read his grace. And so we're cleated to some gird that comes out of race. And the speed my last. Figuring out when I'm gonna this turn. Just like you know, it's Venice at this point.
I've started